What's up, guys? Hockey TikToky's back with an all new video. In today's video, I'm doing what if everyone on your team had the same name, part 8. So in this video series, basically I've been asking the question, what is the best name in hockey? So the idea would be, what if there was a team of hockey players and each guy shared the same name, last name, nickname, first name? They have to have the same name in their name. So we did this experiment with Connor's, Johnny's, Matt's, Nick's, and Alex's so far. And today I'm going to do the next episode, which is called Team Marky or Mark. So all the players have to share a common name or nickname, which could be Marky or Marco, something like that. So what would be the best possible combination of hockey players on the same team with the same name, which is Mark? I'm going to be unveiling that right now here for you today. So as always, I start with the top line, work my way through the forwards. Then I have the defensive pairings and then the goalies, and we're going to see kind of how they might stack up against the other fantasy rosters that I've already created so far. So on Team Marky, line one, center position is usually where I start things off, because I think most people know how important this position is to hockey. You know, Connor McDavid centers the top line of Team Connor. I think I had JT, Jonathan Tanner Miller, centering the top lines of Jonathan's team. We had, who else? Nico Hischier, who currently leads the league in NHL goals right now. I'm pretty sure he's like first in the league as of the time of this recording right now for NHL goals being scored. So Nico Hischier leads Team Nick down the center line of line one centers. And then who do we have? Who else do we have? We have Alexander Barkov, Team Alex's first line center. Who am I forgetting? Matty's Team Matthew. Austin Matthews is going to be the leading center for Team Matty. And then Mike, we had Mika Zibanejad is the top Mike that I can find for Mike's. So I counted Mika's and Team Mike's. Mika's and Mikhail's were all the Mikes, because their nickname could be Mikey. But anyways, nonetheless, let's get into Team Marky. So for Team Marky, their top center is going to be none other than the Winnipeg Jets, Mark Scheifele. So Scheifele will be centering line one for Team Mark, and his line mates are quite strong as well. Like before I get too ahead of myself, I'm going to say this about Team Mark. They have a very balanced top end to their lineup. They don't truly have like a crazy superstar type player like Nikita Kucherov or Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews or Alex Barkov or anything like that. But I feel like they have some of the strongest candidates for the top line out of all of these fantasy rosters. So we have Mark Stone on his right wing. Stone has been ripping up this year. In fact, let me check. I want to check if I'm correct on this right now. But who leads the league in points? It's none other than Mark Stone. So we have Mark Stone on a line with Winnipeg Jets, Mark Scheifele. And then to their left wing, we have Marcus Johansson. He currently plays with the Minnesota Wild, and that's line one: Johansson, Scheifele, and Stone. Line two, we have also of the Minnesota Wild, Marco Rossi. So Marco Rossi is a young up-and-coming star himself, and I think he has the talent to center that second line. And then to his right, we have veteran sort of grinder type forward. Normally, I think he can play a little bit of center as well, but he's going to be playing the right wing. We have Mark Jankowski. And then on the left, we have Marcus Foligno. So Foligno, I think he's a Minnesota Wild as well. Yeah, he's a Minnesota Wild as well. So far, Minnesota has a bunch of Marks on this team. We have Foligno, Marky Johansson, and Marco Rossi. Mark Foligno, Rossi, and Johansson are all on Team Mark. So that's the starting 6 for Team Mark. And then this is where the depth starts to get a little thin for this fantasy team, because when you compare the lines of Team Mark to some of the other examples of this little name game that we've been playing so far, it's kind of it's a little weak compared to some of the other options. So, but anyways, this is what we came up with. We got Marco Kasper. I think he's a Detroit Red Wing, with Mark Kastelik. So with Kasper and Kastelik, the Marks, and Mark Johnstone playing right wing with this line. So Johnstone, I think, is not even a full-time NHLer. He's kind of up and down between the AHL and NHL, but nonetheless, like I said, the depth is getting a little weak right now. There's not a lot of options here for Team Marky, so we're putting Johnstone with Kastelik and Kasper on line 3 for Team Marky. And then from there, it gets very, very sparse when it comes to talented. I shouldn't say talented. I should just say skilled, elite skilled. Like the guys that are on the line 4 of Team Mark are just they're not at the same level as some of the depth of some of the other players. So I guess basically the name Mark is probably just less prevalent in the top ranks of the NHL right now, because I had a lot of trouble finding really good options for this line 4. But nonetheless, I put together 3 guys just to see what would happen. So I got Mark Del Gazo. He is actually normally a defenseman playing for the Nashville Predators, but I didn't have any other options at left wing that I could think of or I could search up at the moment. So I put a defenseman on left wing. I put a guy named Mark McLaughlin playing center. I don't know if he's normally a center, but that's where I got him playing. I'm just gonna quickly look him up while we're talking about him. Yeah, he's played like 3 games in the NHL in the last few years, and mostly playing down in the AHL for the Providence Bruins, for the Boston Bruins. Finally, to fill out this roster, the last forward that I could possibly think of or get to play on line 4 for Team Mark is a man named Marcus Sorensen. He plays currently in the Champions League of Sweden, I think, or Switzerland, and he last played in the NHL for the San Jose Sharks back in 2021. So not the best options at line 4 for Team Mark, but we got her going. We had enough names. We figured it out. We got at least 4 forward lines. So that is the forward lines for Team Mark. And moving on, we're going to get into the defensive pairing. So defensive pairing 1 is pretty decent. At least their first starting defenseman, Marcus Peterson is his name. He's a Pittsburgh Penguin, I believe, and he plays decent enough to be considered at least a top pair guy. I don't know if he's on their very top pair, but at least, decent enough option for the Team Marks. And then on his pairing, I'm going to have Marcus Bjork playing on his right side. So we've got Peterson and Bjork as line 1 for the defense, or I guess pairing 1 for the defense. And then when it came to pairing 2, this is again where it seems to have gotten super thin for Team Mark in the last at least couple of years, because I had a whole bunch of options of players to choose from that have recently retired and or are just not playing in the NHL anymore, maybe due to being aged out. So the guys that I chose are recently retired NHL defensemen, but are still within an age range that it wouldn't be unthinkable for them to have signed another contract. So anyways, for defensive pairing 2, I put Mark Stahl and Marco Scandella together as a pair. And both of these guys are still under 40, I think, and still potentially could lace up for more games, but are officially retired as far as I know as of right now. And then on pair 3, I put Mark Giordano, who is currently without contract for the NHL, but I think he was campaigning at the beginning of the 2024-2025 season to get somebody to sign him, whether it be back with the Maple Leafs, or I even heard rumblings that he might even sign with my team, the Calgary Flames, or even Edmonton Oilers, our rivals too, potentially. I heard rumblings of that, but so far this year he hasn't picked up a contract, but maybe one day he will before the end of the season. So he might not even be retired by the end of this season. We don't really know. And then Marc-Edouard Vlasic is going to be his pair mate. And Marc-Edouard Vlasic, I just got to check one thing on him. I think Marc-Edouard Vlasic is still technically on the San Jose Sharks right now, but I think he might be getting ready to retire too as well. So the defensive pairs for Team Mark are very seasoned, we'll say. They're very seasoned as a group, with Giordano, Stahl, Scandella, and Vlasic all on the second and third defensive pairings. And then we get to the goals. So in goal, and the goalies, we have Jacob Markstrom and Marc-Andre Fleury. So we've got 2 veteran goaltenders, and for Jacob Markstrom, we put him in there because his nickname could be Marky or Mark for short. So he's Marky Mark, and then Marc-Andre Fleury is the other goaltender that we've selected for this team. So anyways, guys, that's the full roster, the full breakdown of Team Marky Mark. If you want to know how this team would compare to some of the other teams, you can go and check out the rest of the videos of this series.